Hi everyone, Martin here. Welcome back to Accidentally Detailed. This episode covers whitewash in depth. It has been a long time since I last painted a green vehicle with whitewash. My last one was this, the BA-10 Soviet armored car. This model is quite old, but I wanted to show it as a reference. Here I use a darker green base and the whitewash is simpler, not as layered as what we will do in this episode. What both models have common are horizontal surfaces being the most chipped. Soviet tank crews didn't use paint for their winter camouflage. They used lime, the same cheap material used to whitewash buildings across the Soviet Union, mixed with water applied by hand directly in field. Lime whitewash was fragile. It wore off fast. Horizontal surfaces lost their white first, vertical surfaces held longer. Crews reapplied it constantly as it disappeared. This is why a Soviet winter tank usually never looked perfectly white. And this is exactly what we will recreate, in 3 separate layers. So let's start. To be able to do hairspray chipping, we can use hairspray or worn effect. I personally use worn effect. When I tried hairspray from grocery store, it chipped in much bigger chunks. For that reason, I find it safer to use a dedicated product instead of random hairspray. Here it is important to mention that the first layer forms drops on the surface. Do not worry, it will absorb into the surface. Because of these drops in first layer, we need to apply 2 layers. The second layer will unify the worn effect and chipping will work well. For the first layer of whitewash, the dirtiest one, I mix these colors. Deck 10 with white in a 50-50 ratio with a tiny drop of blue. Blue is there to make this mix cooler. The mix was thinned down with lacquer thinner. Now we can spray the mixture onto the model. Here we need to spray lightly in a thin layer. With hairspray chipping there is one rule. The thicker the layer of paint, the harder it is to chip down. We spray the places where whitewash actually was. Behind the wheels or on the wheels there usually was no whitewash. It had no point on these areas that got dirty so fast. Whitewash should also reach inner corners and bottom of details. So we rotate the model as needed to reach such places. Here is the result after spraying the first layer. This layer covers most of the vehicle. For chipping, we will use the tools you see on screen, various brushes and a needle. As I mentioned at the beginning, the horizontal surfaces were the most worn. It is also better to start with the places where it was more worn. We will get a better idea how much chipping the vertical surfaces need once we see the horizontal ones already chipped. On horizontal surfaces, I left whitewash mostly in corners and around details. These are the places where it could survive the longest. We just need to think about where the crew moved the most. So around the hedge, there will actually least whitewash left. When there are large chipped areas, it is also important to soak up the excess water. This water contains diluted paint from the top layer. If we leave it to dry, it will give the green surface a faint white filter. As you can see, I use various motions with the brush. I usually start with the painting motion when applying water. Then I switch to a stippling motion to have better control over the chipping. I find the best brush for the stippling motion this gold bristle brush, known from the Chernobyl series. It cost me about 50 cents, but performs better than anything else. On vertical surfaces, I always start with the places where I am sure it should be chipped. Here, for example, around the heat. There is no way whitewash could survive such an impact. The same applies to the damaged fuel drum. We chip around the heats, and more chipping will come in another episode. The next obvious places to chip whitewash are areas with heat, so the gun barrel is the right place to push the chipping further. On vertical surfaces, scratches also make sense. These scratches could be made when the tank crossed through vegetation or from nearby explosions. On the wet surface, I made a few scratches with the needle. Then I made them more prominent with the brush. This also creates additional chips around them, so it looks more naturally. As you can see, the paint on this surface is thicker. For that reason, more force is needed to chip the paint down. I removed the whitewash completely from where the fender was torn off. Under it, there could certainly be no whitewash. Another obvious place for chipping is the path the crew used to enter the tank. For example, the side of the turret. Another obvious place is the front hatch. Through this one the driver entered, so he worn down the whitewash a lot. I chipped the entire path to driver's position heavily, including the spare tracks which came into contact with boots many times. I also chipped the bottom part of the front armor plate to complete the path. Once the obvious places are chipped, we add random chipping across the surfaces. Here you can see the result after first layer of whitewash. We have the first layer, a dirty greyish white. To make the next layers visible, we cannot start with the whiter color. Before the next layer of whitewash, we need to fix this one. For that, I sprayed the whole model with flat varnish from VMS. We need to repeat the process with worn effect to be able to chip again. So we sprayed the whole model again with 2 layers of worn effect. The next layer is mixed with the same paints except blue, decked and white, but now in a ratio 80:20 for white. The consistency is very thin, as you can see. Now we can start spraying the second layer of whitewash. You can see immediately this layer is much more white than previous one. It should be, to get enough contrast between the chipping layers. Where should we spray this more white layer? On the places where the previous layer is. We avoid spraying the most worn horizontal places. They have no whitewash layer left where we can build this up. The most obvious places are around the corners and details. That is where lime stayed longest and was least worn. Here is the result after applying the second layer. We have roughly covered the previous layer of whitewash. Now we can perform the chipping process again. The idea behind this is that we should get multi-layered chipped whitewash. Because lime was applied several times, the first layer became dirty and faded. This represents our previous first layer. The second layer represents the mid layer that was applied later. The second layer is cleaner than previous one. The process here is simple. Chip this layer down based on your taste. Mainly, create visible contrast with chipping between the layers. Whitewash vehicles are actually very good for creativity. You have the freedom to decide how much chipping and what style you want. We can find photos showing vehicles in various states of whitewash, from nearly pure white to nearly completely worn down. I lightly sprayed the turret with matte varnish. After that, I applied the worn effect again. The reason are the numbers. I created my own mask from masking tape. The numbers shape is similar to what I was able to find in some photos. Red was sprayed through the mask. Here is the result after unmasking. We do not need perfect numbers here. The reason is simple. We are working on a surface with worn effect. We can basically remove all oversprays. This also gives us the opportunity to reshape the numbers into the look we want. I decreased the thickness of the numbers because I didn't like them that thick. The crew painted the numbers by hand, so the edges should be more rounded. We start chipping after we are satisfied with the shape of the numbers. In reality, these numbers were painted with red paint, but because they were painted over whitewash, the numbers chipped easily as well. As a final touch to the numbers, I applied a very diluted white acrylic paint over them. This decreases their contrast and integrates them more with the vehicle. Finally, the time came for the third layer of whitewash. This layer we will do with a brush and white Vallejo paint. The paint must be thinned down with water to have medium opacity. This technique is also known as mapping. The process is very simple. Just paint various shapes onto the whitewash surface. We must just avoid covering the previous layers, otherwise there was no point doing them. This process is close to chipping with a paintbrush. Other than shapes, we can also paint various streaks of lime. I have a lot of footage from this step, so I will leave you for a while to watch calmly. We have a saying, better to see it once than to hear it 100 times. I am back, my friends. The last step in this episode is to fix it all. For that, we spray a thin layer of matte varnish on the model. So guys, this episode is coming to an end. Here you can see the T-34 rotating. It got its 3 layers of whitewash. This is the first time I spent so much time on whitewash. Please tell me in the comments what you think about it. Do you like this multi-layer whitewash? Or do you prefer a simple one-layer approach? In the next episode, we will finally start the weathering. Thank you for watching and I wish you all the best.